All right, guys, so when you get your units, this is what it's going to look like. You've got your 1350 that will control all 18 of these 1250s. And of course, this is your Brainchild here. We have 2 thermocouples hooked up in zone 1 and zone 2 on the Brainchild. We only have 1 heater hooked up for this demonstration, and that is on zone 15, okay? We put it here because, well, it's closer to everything else, so we can do this video. So what you're gonna do when you get this thing, how to create a ramp soak program. On the 1350, what you do is you press F, okay? You press F again, and you'll see first step of the program will be step 1. Last step of the program will be, on this illustration, will be 3. We're only gonna do 3 short, low temperature set points and steps on this program. Okay, so now it's going to ask you for, and I'm pressing F to get all through these parameters, guys. They're asking for the step 1 set point, okay? So I have it at 42. We're going to raise this up right now to 50, okay? So that's the first steps set point. From there, how fast do we want it to get there, time-wise? These are in increments of minutes, hour, dot, minute, minute. So I have it in 3 minutes, climbing to the first set point. From there, I want it to hold at that set point. I'm gonna raise this up for 2 minutes, okay? That is step 1. Press F again, you're gonna go to step 2. Program step 2 set point. From there, we're gonna raise it up a couple degrees above step 1 set point to 52. From there, I'm gonna press F. That'll take me to the ramp time. I wanted to do it in 1 minute. I say 1 minute because it's only going up a couple degrees. Usually it's roughly 5 minutes per degree, is it? And I pressed F again to get to step 2's hold time. I set that at 1 minute as well. I want it to hold at that last set point for 1 minute. Now we're gonna go to step 3. On step 3, I'm having it cool down, okay? I want it to cool down, but I want it to be controlled. Instead of it just dropping off, I want it to be controlled. So the set point I'm looking for is 27. Your ambient conditions and your application setup may not allow this to be achieved, but the one I'm looking for right now is 27 degrees. I press F again. Ramp time. I'm gonna do that I'm gonna raise that up to 7 minutes. And hold time, I don't want it to hold. And you guys don't have to have a hold either. So at any time you don't want it to ramp or hold, you just want it to go to the next step, this value can be 0, okay? So that's it for this program. So after I get there, I've just installed all 3 of my steps, but you guys can keep going. And this is step 4's set point. And you guys can just keep pressing F. And it'll take you through all the steps we just went through. You can go all the way to 12. There's 12 steps that you guys can initiate in this. But I don't want to. I don't want to go through the whole thing. So I'm going to press the button on the far left, and I'm going to hold it. That's going to take us back to the home screen, okay? So now, in order to get this run to stop from flashing, what happens when you're running a program? This will stop flashing, it'll be solid. And in order for you to run this program, program 1, step 1 is where you're gonna start. What you do is from this screen, you just press F 1 time, you'll see all 4 zeros, and it'll flash ready, okay? From there, you hit the up arrow, and you hold it down until run stops flashing. You are now running a program. You notice the starting point here. I want to talk about that real quick. The starting point is the last temperature this unit saw at the end of the previous program, okay? So the reason I stretched this program, step 3, the cool down, to 7 minutes is so I could get that temperature that it starts again to start at a lower temperature. So it cools down more than it was before. You can see you're in ramp mode. It's ramping up. The first step, ramp mode, we've been doing it for 1 minute. The set point it's looking for is 43 degrees. This is the process variable. This is your actual temperature the sensor is reading. You can see here on the 1250, it's matching. And you can see here on the Brainchild, those are pretty close too. And those can be off from here depending on your sensor location, where it's set up, how it's set up. The sensors can be moved around to get, and it'll give you different readings. Sometimes you get a place where you get more airflow, kind of what we're experiencing now, in one of the sections of the heater than the other section, and you're going to get a difference in temperature reading. But you can see we're still ramping. We're at 46 here, we're at 46 here, 46 and change here, 40 here. This is also designed to where if these temperatures are out of range as far as the alarm goes, what will happen is that any of these, if this happens, is if these are out of the alarm's range, this will go on pause, this will be on hold, and it'll look just like this. Sorry. Just like that. That's what's going to be happening, okay? And then what this is doing is waiting until the temperature that's out of range comes back into range, then it automatically starts again. We're in the 3-minute range or section of our first ramp of step 1. When it goes to the hold time on your step, this will disappear and this will reset to 0 and start to count over. Just like now, the ramp indicator went away and it went back to 0. This is a PID program, guys. The more you run it, the closer these temperatures are gonna close. So anytime you have a sensor error on the Brainchild, this is what you're going to see. If you have a broken sensor, or you have a sensor that's just not working, or there's a bad connection somewhere, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see an error out on the specific sensor. Brainchild has a few more features. Actually has a lot more features. So if you hit that button right there at the very top, you can go to mode. And you can change this up. That's your bar screen. Go to digits there. Or you can have it that way. As you can see, you're still ramping. You're on step 2 now. These are your output bars right here and here. It gives a percentage of the output. And you'll see these fluctuate because it's always wanting to control. Even if it just spikes up real quick and then comes back down, it's always wanting to have control. Doesn't want anything, no drastic temperature changes. And again, these temperatures can fluctuate depending on how you have your application set up, guys. We're now holding. on step 2. You could go through these parameters too while it's running. I wanted to show you guys, instead of wasting time sitting here with dead air, I'm going to go through all 12 steps, and at the very end, you can change your units from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So now you can change it by pushing the up or down arrow. After you make a change, you have got to hit F in order for the value to be received and locked in and saved. Now you're back on the home screen again. Step 3, you're in ramp mode. And this one we're cooling down. And I believe this was a 7-minute cool down, if I remember correctly. The Gefrans, guys, the manual is pretty intense. Just for the modules themselves. There's a lot more to these things than than you guys need. So we condensed everything down the best we could to just give you what's needed for your application. If at any point you guys feel adventurous and you want the entire manual and you want to dig into this thing, by all means, we'll give it to you. But it is quite overwhelming. As you can still see, step 3, ramp down, and we're looking for this to be 27 degrees at the very end. I don't know if we'll achieve it. If our 7 minutes ends before we get to 27 degrees, it's going to end the program. So be aware of that. Whatever temperature this is at, when your program ends, that's what temperature it's going to want to maintain all of the jackets hooked up to your zones. All right, guys, so we're going to speed through this a little bit so you guys don't have to sit there and watch water boil. All right, we're at 7. It's getting ready to stop, guys, and what you'll see, this disappear, and you'll see this flash end, and then the zeros again. And you'll notice we're at 46 degrees actual temperature. 27 is what we were looking for, but our cool down just didn't allow it. Our application, or the way we have everything set up, just did not allow it to cool down that much in that a lot of time. So be aware of that, guys. Be patient when you're trying to cool this down. All right, so as you notice it says end, okay? So if you try to start another program from here, it's not gonna work, okay? Nothing's gonna happen until you simultaneously press these 2 buttons, hold them down until it says ready, okay? Goes back to 0, 0, and ready. From that point, you can start another program by holding this down. Anytime you need to hold the program, stop the program, press this button, the down arrow, and that'll put it on hold. You'll notice because run is flashing as well. So the Brainchild, I want to talk real quick about the Brainchild before I wrap it up. The instruction manual on the Brainchild, guys, they did an awesome job. Colored pictures of screens, good information, that I think they describe everything clearly. So I don't believe anyone's going to have a problem with this as far as instructions and as far as operating. But if at any time you guys do, feel free to reach out. Wanted to go back over the buttons on this thing again, the 1350. So I'm in hold right now. I want to just get out of this program. So what I'm going to do is simultaneously press these again. Okay, I'm now ready. Start another program by pushing this, or I can change my parameters through here. I can add steps. and so on. At any time if I'm in programming mode, a programming screen, and I want to go back to home screen, hold down this button here. Take you back there. From there, if you want to run your program, again, and I believe that's it, almost it. So at any point, if this value on the 1250s is higher than this value, it will produce heat to the heater. So you've always got to make sure when you're not running a program, this value, you have to make sure it's lower than this value, okay? You have to. The set point has got to be lower than the process variable or the process value, the actual sensor reading. Again, if it's not, what it'll do is it'll produce output to the heater and it'll start heating, especially when you guys are messing around setting up an application. You do not want that, so be aware of that. When you turn these on for the first time, they may be at 60 degrees, so be aware. Turn them down if you need them to be, okay? Let's go through the alarm settings on this real quick. Alarm 1's 25 degrees. Alarm 2's 30 degrees. Also, you can change it from absolute to deviation alarm. So it's up to you guys. Again, the buttons work the same here as they do here. To get out of programming mode, you hold this button down here, back to the home screen. That's all I got for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out at any point. Thanks for watching.